to teach their best and also pursue research. For well-wishers to come here, for intellectuals to have a place here and contribute in this mission of providing the best education to the young minds in all the courses that we offer, law, media, and management. In making this happen, as the management, we are constantly trying to improve our facilities. Our infrastructure is international in nature. We've tried to bring together all the relevant stakeholders to participate in this mission. We've tried to ensure that the workings and processes of this institute are fundamentally sound. It is our hope that those who have the desire to succeed find a place over here and pursue this goal of excellence. We motivate all of them in achieving this task. If you're associated with DME or wish to get associated, then I welcome you all over here and I wish you all the best.
All right then. Ma'am, with your permission, we may begin.
Yes, please go ahead.
So a very good afternoon to everyone present here. I am Vedika Lahiri. I'm Assistant Professor at DME Law School and I welcome you all to this webinar on the success strategy to crack CLAT and IELTS. This event is primarily focused on providing guidance to the students of higher secondary schools on the best practices to crack these tough all India level competitions. This is being organized by the Delhi Metropolitan Education, Noida. So to give you a brief background about the institution, Delhi Metropolitan Education is a grade A premier educational institute which is affiliated to the Guru Gobind Singh Indraprastha University, New Delhi. DME imparts education in the fields of law, management and journalism with the law courses approved by the Bar Council of India. The institute is located in the IT hub of NCR and is housed in a splendid building laced with modern educational facilities assigned to a norm for enhancing students' creativity and capabilities. The law school offers a 5-year integrated BA LLB and BBA LLB program and practices project-based pedagogy with strong connect between classroom teaching and evolving legal and corporate needs. If you wish to know more about us, you may always refer to our website, that is www.dme.ac.in. With this, I welcome our guest for this session, Mr. Amardeep Sandhu. He is currently pursuing PhD on a JRF scholarship. He is a research scholar at the GGSIPU, New Delhi. He has completed his LLM from National University, Delhi, and had also qualified the LLM entrance of CLAT with an outstanding rank of 108 and IELT for NLU Delhi with rank 22. So we welcome you to today's event, Amardeep, and thank you for joining us today. I would also like to extend a very warm welcome to Professor Dr. Ravikant Swami, Director DAV, to this webinar, and to all the faculty members, participants, and to the outreach team to this event. I hope that today's event will help everyone present here in gaining valuable knowledge on this field. With this, I invite Mr. Amardeep to start his session. Please.
Thank you, Vedya. Thank you. So first of all, I would like to extend my vote of gratitude to Dean Sir, Shalini ma'am, Gayatri ma'am, and also Bedpriya ma'am. It's an honor to be there, to be here, and talk to budding students regarding CLAT so that they can get some idea about this exam. Okay, then can I start with my presentation or there's anything? Okay.
Yes, please.
Okay, sure. Let me just share my screen. Okay. So the basic idea is CLAT, but around CLAT there are also many other exams, low entrance exams, like for example, IELTS for NLU Delhi. Then there's Punjab University conducting its own exam. And then there's Symbiosis and many other private institutes also. So the basic idea is that CLAT preparation is not just CLAT anymore, because the pattern between CLAT and other exams, it differs a little bit. So you have to take care of all the exams and not just focus on the syllabus of CLAT first of all. Let me just make it clear. So you have to be smart and look at the requirements of CLAT as well as other exams so that you can cater to all of them. So with this basic idea, let me just start with this presentation. So the basic instructions about CLAT. There are 22 national law universities competing. For which you will be competing, and other than that, there are many other colleges like IP University itself is admitting students through CLAT exam now. So you can also look at those, and that in fact makes CLAT a little bit more important than other entrance exams. Other than that, the basic information that you all must be having is that exam will be conducted on 13th of June. So you have an ample amount of time right now. Even you have 2 to 2.5 months before the exam. The applications are open right now. If somebody hasn't filled it up, and the last date will be 31st March. So please do that. Other than that, let's get to the actual paper format. The paper format.
Amardeep,
yes, sir.
Can we have full screen? Can we have full screen, please?
Definitely, sir. Is it?
Yeah.
Fine, sir. Okay.
Fine.
So the paper format is of the main thing that you have to focus here is on that the duration is of 2 hours and the paper has 150 questions divided into 5 different subjects. But the length of the paper and the duration given makes it the toughest exam other than NILAT maybe, because that exam has 1.5 hours. So you only get 48 seconds per question, analytically speaking. But so you have to see here that CLAT is actually a race against time. You might be knowing all the answers, but you have to answer them as fast as you can, so that you can easily, you don't hurry, you don't rush into things. So you have to prepare yourself according to the time given. So be aware of the time. Then it's a MCQ, multiple choice question based exam. You will be given 4 options per question, and you'll have to choose the right option. This negative marking also involved, so you have to be very careful about the option you're choosing. Even the questions when you're marking your answers, since it's a paper-based question exam now, it's no more a online platform-based exam. So you have to be very careful while marking your putting in your markings in the MCQ OMR sheet. So, and if you mess up your answer or you don't know your answer, you will be given minus 0.25 marks for each wrong answer. So that's the format. It's a comprehension-based exam. The pattern of the exam has been recently twisted a little. So you have to be very careful regarding the new format which is here. The earlier one was not so much comprehension-based as it is right now. When I took the exam, it was not based on comprehension so much. But now, since it's a comprehension-based exam, you have to read a lot of things. You have to do a lot of reading in the exam. Then the duration of the exam has to be taken care of. So the basic thing that I want to say is the CLAT is not just your knowledge testing exam. It's a basic understanding, as you can see, that it's a test of your reading and comprehension skills. You have to read fast, you have to comprehend faster, and you have to answer even faster than that. So let's see the weightage of the exam of the 5 subjects in CLAT. So CLAT, as you can see, has 5 subjects: English language, current affairs, including GK, legal reasoning, logical reasoning, and quantitative techniques. Quantitative techniques is basically mathematics. It's a little bit twisted version of mathematics. It's basically, I'll get to it in some time. So let's see the actual weightage which was there in CLAT 2020. So CLAT 2020 had 30 questions out of 150 for English, 35 for GK, 40 for legal reasoning, and 34 logical reasoning, and 15 questions for quantitative techniques. So let's see. No, before getting into the actual uh, subject subject-wise analysis of this paper, let us just see what this exam demands from us. So you have to see now at this point. I would also like to maybe just show you the actual exam sample paper for just your idea, so that you can see what it's like. Uh, can you actually see this question on your screen, sir?
Yes.
Okay. So the question paper will per question have actually around 450 words of a passage. So you have to read this passage and you have to answer 4 to 5 questions based on this passage. And such a passage will appear after every 4 to 5 questions. So you can imagine how much reading will go into this exam and how much time this can take you if you're a slow reader. So the basic funda is that you have to be a fast reader. So you have 2.5 months left now. I suggest you do some reading. Uh, if you're not reading a newspaper daily, start with that. Get habitual with it. Do it on a daily basis and try to do it faster. Try to understand it better every day. Be a little more comprehensive about reading your newspapers. Don't just go through it. You have to understand what the passage is telling you. So you can see there are 450 words in this passage, and if you'll take around 5 to 10 minutes just to read this passage, then there's no chance that you can actually pass CLAT or even other exams. For example, IELTS also has a lot of comprehension reading in their exam. So you have to be good at reading and comprehension. So coming back to the slide. Hmm. So let's see what CLAT actually wants you to do in their English language paper. So it says that there will be a passage of about 450 words each provided, as I told you earlier. So these passages will be derived from contemporary and historically significant fiction and non-fiction writing. So the questions which will come from these passages, they can be of any difficulty level. They usually are not that difficult, but it can be difficult. You can expect at least 1 or 2 passages to be of difficult with high difficulty level. But in those passages, you will be asked to do things like comprehend the main point of that passage, to identify and analyze the arguments in that passage. Questions will be provided to you by putting a certain viewpoint, and you will be asked whether that viewpoint was present in the passage, or you will be presented with the opposite viewpoint from the passage, and you will be asked to correct that viewpoint. You will be asked to draw inferences from it. So your deductive and inductive reasoning also comes into play here. English language paper is no more just a English language paper. It is also to a certain level, it is also a test of your logical reasoning skills. Your reasoning skills will be analyzed here because you will have to draw inferences, and you will be good at drawing inferences only if you are good at your logical reasoning. You have to know about what is deductive reasoning, what is inductive reasoning, and things like that. You will be asked to summarize these passages. So if you have to summarize a passage of 450 words into just a single line, so you have to analyze that passage really carefully to get the gist of that passage, so that you can actually summarize it, because you will be provided with 4 options, and those 4 options will be very similar to each other. So you have to take care of those facts also. So read it carefully, read it very attentively, and do what is asked. Don't go with your flow. Don't feel that this passage should mean this. That is not what we are asking. That is not what the exam is asking. You have to tell what it is saying, not according to you. You have to tell the actual point of that passage. Other than that, there will be definitely some phrases, some words for which you have to provide their meaning. So this will require you to have a good vocabulary. So again, if you need to have a good vocabulary, you cannot develop it overnight. You have to go through some reading material every day. And for that, again, I would suggest a newspaper, a good newspaper, because a good newspaper will not only help you in English language, it will help you in legal reasoning, it will help you in current affairs, it will help you in logical reasoning as well. So the basic funda of this exam starts from a newspaper and starts from your habit of reading a newspaper. You have to, I will definitely urge you to read that newspaper again and again throughout this session, so that at least some of you can understand the gravity of the importance that a newspaper holds in this exam. Other than that, English exam, English language will be in different exams will also be similar to this pattern only. So you have to be good at English language, because this part of paper will be present in every exam which you will take for your law entrances anywhere in this country. So let's move on to current affairs. Now, current affairs has been recently changed a little bit. The question paper, what CLAT said was that we are not willing to check your rote learning ability, your ability to capture information in your mind. We want analytical people to be present in a field. So what they did was here. So what they did here was that they chose to not ask you static GK questions. Static GK question are questions like capitals of certain countries, or important dates or important events. Those will not be directly asked in CLAT from now on. But at the same point, I would also like to point out that these things will definitely be asked in other law entrance examinations. So you have to keep reading them like you used to earlier. But just to clear it, these questions will no more be asked in your CLAT examination. So people who are only focusing on CLAT, they don't need to go through capitals and other things like that, or no need to go into static GK or historical things as such. But other than that, what the questions they will ask is, let me just again show you a question which was asked in CLAT 2020. Current affairs including GK. So look at this. This will again, these questions will not be a direct question. You will have to do a lot of reading here also. You will be provided with passages. So you can see throughout your exam, you will have to do a lot of reading within a very limited amount of time. So you have to be a fast reader and a good comprehender. So you can see there's a question here on FDIs and Atmanirbhar Bharat Abhiyan. So you have to, if you're reading a newspaper, you will be familiar with this thing. As you can see, this passage itself, which was in CLAT 2020 exam, is taken from Hindustan Times. So if someone has been reading this newspaper, they will definitely be more comfortable with it. They will be more, this will come more naturally to them, as opposed to people who are not reading these newspapers daily. So you will be given a certain amount of information. Then you have to be very much aware about the schemes of government. For example, this FDI and Atmanirbhar Abhiyan, the passage is coming. But if you look at the question is that the 31st question is that the government announced a stimulus package under the Self-Reliant India scheme for the amount of dash dash dash. This information is not provided to you in this passage itself. This you will have to know prior to this exam. You will have to read about these informations. You have to do your own research. If someone has joined a coaching institute, they might be providing you with certain GK and current affairs questions. So the point here is that your questions will be revolving around these passages, but they will not be restricted to these passages. So you have to know the intricacies of these schemes so that you can actually answer these questions. You cannot just rely on the passage it's not a English language comprehension passage. It's a current affair passage. So you will be actually given, this passage is basically to just give you a hint of this thing, to remind you of the actual event. It's not here to give you a it's not here to give you an answer in itself. You cannot find this 20 trillion answer in this passage, but you can try to find it. You won't find this answer here. So let's again get back to the PPT. So here questions will be of certain events like art and culture. Another question was, if you will go through your previous year question paper, another question paper was related to Donald Trump in America. So you'll have to be aware of these events going on around you. You have to be very much thorough with these events, because now they're not just going to ask you who is the president of USA. They will ask you what his policies were. They can ask you these type of questions. They can also ask you what are the specific issues that certain events are dealing with. So you have to go into the entry cases of such events. You have to do a little bit of research work yourself. At this point of time, you can also look at some coaching institutes, because being a 12th or 11th class student, I don't expect you to do that much of research on your own, or maybe I cannot expect you to just be reading throughout the year about such events, because you have other things to do. You have your schools, you have your board exams and other things also. You have to cater to those things also. At this point, you might just go to some coaching institute who can readily provide you with certain facts. They will do the hard work. You have to just read and go through these informations. So it's not bad to join a coaching institute. I'm not saying that coaching institute is a must, but if you can just if you can just join some institute, because even if you prepare your entire exam on your own, you won't be able to give any kind of mock tests or practice tests on your own. And the importance of mock tests here cannot be overemphasized. It's not just my personal opinion. It was a research study which was done in some university, forgetting its name. But what they found out was that the difference between the toppers of a certain class and the normal students of a certain class was that when their exam was approaching them, they were not actually, the toppers were not actually going through their notes and again revising same things. What they were doing differently from normal students was that they were they were actually taking their practice tests. They were actually going through their previous year question papers, so that they can actually practice what they have learned till date. So that that study went on to find even that not just exams are important, practice exams are so important that the number of practice paper that a student took was directly proportional to his rank in the exam. So if you are taking 10 paper and somebody is taking 20 papers, so they will definitely be performing better. And this is a factually proven thing. So I would really suggest you to take some mock tests, because without actually performing these papers, you cannot just go to the CLAT examination for the first time, see that paper in that format for the first time, and expect yourself to go through that paper and come with flying colors, because you just cannot do that. It's not humanly possible for a class 12 student to do that. So I really suggest you and urge you to actually, even if you don't want to join a coaching institute, you should join a mock test series of any coaching institute which you can find. So moving on, coming back to the examination. So you will find historical events and international affairs passages in current affairs. And as I said, no static GK anymore in CLAT, but you will definitely find it in other exams like IELTS and Punjab University and other exams. So you should keep reading these static GK as well, in my opinion. So then comes legal reasoning. Now, legal reasoning is one such field that students are really over enthusiastic about. They feel like it's a CLAT examination, so legal reasoning has to be very, very strong. So, as you can see, let me just go back and show you that legal reasoning actually has 40 questions. So, undoubtedly, it has the maximum weightage out of these out of these subjects. But what you have to remember is that even if it has the maximum uh, weightage, it's still 40 marks. It's not 150 marks. You cannot just ignore other subjects because you feel like legal reasoning is something that you should be knowing. You should work smartly, and you should not be over enthusiastic about legal reasoning because you're going to be a you're going to be an advocate and you think law is important. Yes, definitely it's important, but remember, every question has a single mark only. If you will do a question correctly from legal reasoning, you won't get 10 marks for a single question. So be very careful not to just read legal reasoning throughout your preparation. Give it a due and respectable time, but don't just forget other subjects because you think legal reasoning is very important. Because at the end of the day, you will only get a single mark for a single question, and you have to give equal importance to all of these subjects. And let's see what we will find in legal reasoning question papers. Oh, sorry, questions. So again, as you can see, there are around 450 words, passages involved. Again, I have to point out here that reading is very important. It's the supreme thing you have to tackle. So just be ready to read a lot of things in this exam and be fast with it. So as you can see that it does not require any prior knowledge of law, but I would really suggest you to read and practice some things, some basic things like contract law and constitution, because questions are definitely going to be asked from these parts, and it's these are not the basic knowledge of these parts are not something which you cannot understand or which are so difficult that only a graduate person can understand. So you can really just go through the basics of contract and basics of constitution and even criminal law for that matter, because questions will be asked. Although it says that no prior knowledge is required, but the questions which has been asked in CLAT 2020 and even in previous exams and in other exams also, they sometimes uh, tend to ask you such questions which, according to me, requires a certain amount of prior knowledge. But that being said, most of the questions are such questions which you have to answer on the information provided in the passage and the thing particular thing asked in the question paper. So let's just again go through a question paper, maybe uh, legal reasoning is that's it. So you can see the length of this passage. So first of all, you have to read, and you can also see it's on COVID-19 pandemic. So you will have to take care of. So as I was saying, if you are familiar with uh, concepts like act of God and force majeure, then you will be at a better place to answer such questions, because these questions are directly asking you. Uh, they're directly asking you information based on such concepts. So as you can see, based on the author's argument in the passage above, which of the following is correct? So you have to go through. If I'll start reading these questions, it will take a lot of time. And all I want to actually emphasize here is that you should be aware of certain concepts, certain basic concepts of law, and then you will be provided these passages which will give you ample information to answer legal reasoning questions. So you don't have to worry that if you don't have prior knowledge, you won't be able to. Yes, you will definitely be able to if you are little attentive about this question, or and if you are actually applying your analytical skills in this question, you will definitely be able to find your answers in these passages. Now, again, you can see 350 questions. Get ready to read a lot of things. And this will also help you throughout your degree, throughout your law degree. It's not just for this exam. If you are going to some top tier NLU, they will make you read so much. They'll make you read so much. You will be thinking why you joined this degree. Because if you're not into habit of reading things, it will be a shocker for you, and you will have to, at some point of time, develop the habit of reading. So I suggest you do it. Start doing it right now. Let's just move on to the next subject. This is logical reasoning. Now, logical reasoning, the passages are of 300 words. It's a little smaller than the other one. Let me just drink some water. Now, logical reasoning is very important. So, the great thing about this part is if you're good at logical reasoning, the chances are that you can score 30 out of 30 in logical reasoning without any failure. And logical reasoning is also asked in other examinations. So, you will get a lot of edge over the other students if you can deal with logical reasoning. So, you will be asked to recognize an argument, like you can also draw similar inference between logical reasoning and English language paper, because there also you were asked to recognize the arguments, their premises and conclusions, and here also. But here you will be given more factual knowledge or factual information based on which you will be asked certain questions. So you have to identify the patterns of reasoning, and in order to identify these patterns of reasoning, you have to have some prior knowledge. What are the patterns of knowledge? Oh, sorry, patterns of reasoning. If you don't know what is a pattern of reasoning, you cannot answer these questions. So you should actually start with the basics of reasoning and deal with these questions with and if you can just be clear with the basics of these basics of logical reasoning, you'll be very you will see that you can answer all these questions very smoothly. You won't face much difficulty here. So let me just show you another question from logical reasoning part. So here it is. You can see the passage is a little smaller than the other passages, and again the passage has been quoted from a newspaper. All the not all, but certainly a majority of these these passages will be from certain newspapers. So it's better to inculcate the habit of reading these things. The main idea, let me just find you a see here. It's about the strength of author's argument, and let me just find you certain other. Again, a question paper, sorry, a newspaper asked question. Here you are asked about whether it's a metaphor, analogy, personification, or something else. So you need to actually know what is a metaphor, what is analogy, what is personification. So you have to definitely read about these things. And certain other, anything else? Again, these are very much analytical. Here you have to identify what weakens the argument. It's not a direct question, direct logical reasoning based question, as we often find in other examinations. It's a very comprehensive and analytical question. You have to actually get to the point where you can identify the argument, then you can also identify the points which are weakening and which are actually promoting the point of the passage. So you definitely have to do a lot of reading and definitely have to be very smart while reading these, smart and aware and attentive while reading these questions. And for these questions, I'm again telling you, you have to, and you just have to appear in mock tests, and you have to take those, even if you don't know, even if you're not prepared for your mock tests, just go and sit in those tests. Just get familiar with the pattern. Just get familiar to the kind of questions that are asked, so that you can actually answer these questions when you're sitting in the exam. It doesn't matter if you fail in your mock tests, but it will definitely matter if you fail in your main exam. So let's move on. Now, this part is where most of the students are not sure about themselves. They are afraid of this part because maths is not something which most lawyers are a fan of, or even otherwise, most people are not a big fan of mathematics. But the importance of this part lies in this fact only, that most of the people are not good at maths. So in case you are good at maths, you are definitely going to get an edge over all those students who are not good at it. And there are a big number of students who are not good at it. So if you can actually force yourself to read this, or just if you're good at maths, then that's good for you. Then you can just practice the syllabus which is required in CLAT. You don't have to show your mathematics skills, that you can do integration and other things. All you have to do is focus on the things that you are being asked. Don't try to show off your knowledge, and don't try to do maths based books which are not required. Don't go solving RD Sharma. You have to focus on your requirements here. So the change that has been brought into this part of the question post 2019 is that the questions are no more actually directly on certain formulas of maths. Like, for example, speed is equal to distance over time. This you need to know, but these are the kind of questions which are going to be less and less in these in CLAT at least. In other question papers, you will definitely find it, but in CLAT you won't. What you will find in CLAT is data interpretation. What is data interpretation? Data interpretation is that you will be provided with certain data. You will be provided with data in forms of pie charts, in form of graphs, in form of just tables. Let me just show you one of them. And if you can answer these questions, you will definitely be you will definitely have a bigger edge over other students. Like, look at this here. This table shows you certain information. It gives you a graph, and then it provides you states and ratio. For this, you will have to know the basics of ratio. You don't need to know certain other formulas, like the one I told you about, speed or interest. If, for example, simple interest and compound interest, you don't need to know those formulas, but you need to know the basic techniques of mathematics, such as ratio, percentage, and other things. So only then you will be able to answer these questions. And another thing is, be very careful when you're doing your interpretation of the data given, because you cannot just be silly about it and write wrong numbers in your calculation. Definitely going to give wrong answers if you don't. For example, the first graph of Odisha, the number says 57, and if in hurry or in otherwise, because of some silly attitude, you write instead of 57, you write 75 or 56, then you definitely give the wrong answer, even if you are applying the right formulas. So just be attentive throughout the paper, 100% attention, and that will really help you throughout the paper. So let's move on. Let me just look at the time. 46. So let me just show you a question or two more. See, what is the average number of meals affected by Japanese some disease in all 5 states? So you all you have to do is the number given here is in thousands. So you have to add these numbers and divide it by 5 to get your answer. And these are really direct and simple questions. So you will get such questions also, but you will also have questions like question number 136, which is a percentage based question, which most people are not comfortable with. So just go through your question papers more and more, get comfortable with these question papers, get comfortable with the basics of every subject, whether it's maths or English or reasoning, because all of these subjects has certain basics for which you need to be uh, and for those you need to be aware of those basics so that you can answer these questions. And that's it. The tips and tricks are, again, the number one thing is read your newspapers daily. No one can help you if you're not reading these newspapers daily, and attempt as much papers as you can. That's I find it personally that it helped me, and it definitely will help you. And identify your strong and weak areas. You have to make your strong areas count as much as they can. You have to score in those areas, and you have to make your weak areas better so that you're not left out, because it's not a big question. Oh, it's not a paper with 500 marks. It's hardly 150 marks, and if you're losing out on 15 marks of mathematics because you don't know that area, then you cannot expect to find a good NLE. Then formulate a pattern of attempting the exam. This is also important. You have to uh, uh, formulate a practice. You have to formulate your style of doing these papers. You cannot just start with the new area while you attempt a question paper every time. For example, you cannot do English one time and you're doing maths the next time. So form a pattern that will help you a lot, because you know what to expect. After you finish with maths, you know you have to do English. Then after that, you know you have to do legal reasoning. So you will be in a better frame of mind to answer those questions. You won't be taken by surprise, is all. Then don't get stuck on questions. This is the most important, one of the most important things. Students sometimes they form a prestige issue that, oh my god, this is a question paper, this is a question from my competency skill, and how can I not answer this? I will definitely answer this. And on that you will lose a lot of time. You will lose your precious time, and you will suffer when you have to do other questions. So don't, if you're not able to answer it, move on. It's just a single question, it's just a single mark. You won't be harmed as much if you'll keep trying to answer that question. Other than that, familiarize yourself with OMR sheets, because it's not online exam. You cannot just click and move on. You have to fill those circles. So if you can just practice it a little while taking your mocks, that will be great. Revise your things regularly and clear your doubts. Don't be afraid to ask your doubts with your if you're taking coaching somewhere, then to your coaching institute, and otherwise if you're doing it with somebody else, to those persons. Then do smart work. uh, as I told you, don't try to show off your knowledge. That's not helpful. That's not going to help you in this exam. Do what is asked, move on, and that's it. You will be good to go, and you'll definitely score good marks if you can just do these things. So that's it, and maybe we can open it for questions if anyone is willing to ask some questions.
So thank you so much, Amarjit. This was such a knowledgeable and exhaustive and comprehensive understanding that you gave us. I'm very sure that this has helped the students a lot who are here today. So, because the main audience that is here present here today is the students of school students.
Am I audible?
Yes, you are. Yes, you
I
are.
can't.
Are you facing a connectivity issue? Can you hear us? Can you can you hear us? You hear me?
Yes, yes, Prithvi, I can.
Okay. So the first question that is coming from the participants is that when should a student start preparing for class? Like should they start right after class 10 or what is that ideal time?
See, that's really up to the student what his speed is. But in my understanding, CLAT is not an exam for which you need to study for 2 years. Even if you start in 11th, or even if you start after, for example, the exam is in June right now. And even if you start right now and give a lot of dedication to this thing, then you can surely fare through this exam. You don't have to worry about how much time you need to dedicate for this exam. All you need to do is the correct methodology to attempt this exam and the way you need to actually learn about this exam. So you can definitely, most definitely start it after plus two, oh sorry, plus one. Get enrolled in some coaching institute. There are multiple coaching institutes who are offering 1 year and even 2 years uh, of coaching for CLAT. I don't think 2 years is really necessary. Live your life a little. Don't worry about it. You will fare. You can fare through this exam easily, even if you start reading it in plus two. So that's it.
And like you would know, there are 3-year law courses and then there are 5-year law courses for LLB.
Yes.
So can you make a distinction and why do you think that is the 5-year course a little better than 3-year course?
Okay. The difference between 3 year and a 5 year course is, first of all, you cannot join a 3 year course directly after your plus two. You have to be a graduate for that. And in my understanding, not a lot of universities are actually offering you a 3 year LLB course. At least the NLUs are not offering that. So
IP
if
also offers a 5-year course.
yeah, IP offers a 5 year. Sorry, this degree. It's a integrated degree. You will get a BA or BBA along with your LLB. And in that course, if you are opting for a 5 year LLB, you are also saving a year out of your life. So you don't have to first go through a graduation course of 3 years. And in certain cases, for example, if somebody is going for a BTech and then thinking of coming back to law field, because some students opt for BTech somehow, and then they transfer to law, then they will be wasting their a lot of time. I won't say waste actually, because they have gained a BTech from certain college, but they will have to spend 4 years there and the 3 year part there, which will be a total of 7 years. So why do you need to spend 7 years somewhere when there's an option available for 5 years? And for law NLUs, uh, everyone is aiming for the NLUs, and they're only offering in five. So uh, that's not something you really need to worry. If you want NLUs, you have to compulsorily do 5 years.
Okay, and Mayank asks that, sir, I will go to class 12 this session of 2021-2022. So will I be giving the exam this year or next year?
No, 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 no. Mank, you have to take it next year, because you have to clear your plus two first, and only then you can appear it. You cannot do it while you are in plus two, as in not while entering it, while exiting your plus two, you can definitely do it. That's the time. And also, you can do it later on if you have to drop your year or something. That's allowed, but not without a because if you get a admission somewhere, you won't have a plus two certificate, so that's pointless.
Okay, so one question is that is there a sequence that you would suggest in answering the papers? Like which section would you appear first and why?
That's really your personal opinion. You have to do it according to your knowledge. I might be comfortable in maths, so I would like to finish off 15 questions initially, because So because those questions can give me a little bit of confidence that yes, I have attempted 15 questions rightly, and then I will go in and go and face other questions with a positive attitude. Similarly, you have to maybe start uh, uh, with subjects with which you are comfortable with. Definitely do it with subjects जहाँ पे आप लोग comfortable, and you can go through your exam in level of decreasing comfortableness. Okay.
So Mayank has one further question, that can we
Yes.
study LLM without studying LLM?
Yes, somewhere there actually you can as of now study LLM without LLB, but Bar Council of India is trying to bring in a change which says that you cannot do an LLM without LLB. For that, you will be offered a Master of Arts in legal field, in criminology or certain other specialization, but you won't get an LLM from now on. But as of now, that rule has been stayed by the Supreme Court, and you can definitely get an LLM without LLB.
So thank you so much, Amardeep, for answering our questions. So with this, we are moving to the end of this event. I invite Dr. Shalini Gautam, Head Outreach and Associate Professor of DME Management School, to present the both of us. Please.
First of all, thank you so much, Mr. Amardeep, for such a wonderful presentation. I think it was very, very exhaustive, and I'm sure that students must have benefited out of it, specifically the few points that you have taken: importance of mock papers, importance of reading newspapers, which many of the students are actually avoiding these days. They are happy
Yes,
with the tickers which they are getting on their mobiles. So I think that is the important point that you have made. It was a very wonderful, exhaustive. The last slide, which has all the important points, it was very nice. Thank you so much for sparing your valuable time for this webinar. I would also like to thank our director, sir, Swami sir, without whom support, with his support, we wouldn't have done this webinar. I would also like to thank all the faculty members who have taken the time out of their busy schedule to attend this webinar. All the students, I know few of you have your board practicals and pre-board exams going on, but your presence here actually shows that how much serious you are in your career. So thank you, all of you, for attending. And last but not the least, my outreach team, Veda Priya ma'am, Roli ma'am, Rinzi ma'am, all of you are the pillar of strength to the outreach team. So thank you so much to all of you. Thank you. Thank you once again to you also, Mr. Amardeep. Thank you so much. Thank you.
Thank you for giving me the opportunity.
Thank you.
So with this, we conclude the event. All of you have a good one.
Thank you.